Wally Conron, that's the guy, an Australian breeding manager who, back in 1989, crossed a standard poodle with a Labrador retriever. And he did it for a genuinely good reason. A blind woman in Hawaii needed a guide dog, but her husband was allergic to most breeds. So Conron figured, okay, poodle coat plus lab temperament. Problem solved. And it worked. Kind of. One puppy out of the litter had a coat the husband could tolerate. 1 out of 3. But that's not really the point of the story. The point is what happened after. Nobody wanted the other 2 puppies. Conrad couldn't place them. Guide dog clients wanted labs. Poodle people wanted poodles. Nobody was lining up for some weird cross nobody had a name for. So, and this is the part that keeps him up at night, I think. He went to the PR department and told them to start calling it a Labradoodle. Gave it a name, gave it a brand, and suddenly everyone wanted one. He's been saying for years now, decades, that he opened Pandora's box. His words, not mine. He told the Associated Press in 2019 that he created a Frankenstein, that breeders with zero ethics jumped on it, started crossing anything with a poodle, slapping oodle on the end, and charging $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 for dogs with no health testing, no standards, no accountability. And look, I'm not saying the man should carry guilt for what other people did with his idea, but he does. He carries a lot of it. He's called it his life's regret, the thing he wishes he could take back. The guy who started it all wants to undo it. That should tell you something. There's no such thing as a hypoallergenic dog. Full stop. That's not my opinion. That's what every allergist and immunologist who's ever been asked has said. The American Kennel Club says it. The Mayo Clinic says it. The protein that triggers dog allergies, CANF1 if you want to get specific, it's produced in saliva, in skin cells, in urine. Every dog produces it. Every single one. Now, some dogs shed less. That's real. A poodle sheds less than a lab, so there's less dander floating around, less hair on your couch carrying that protein into your nose. And for some people with mild allergies, that's enough. But less shedding got turned into hypoallergenic, and hypoallergenic got turned into a marketing pitch worth, God, I don't even know, billions? Probably billions at this point. Here's what kills me. A 2011 study published in the American Journal of Rhinology and Allergy actually measured allergen levels in homes with so-called hypoallergenic breeds versus regular breeds. No difference. 0. The homes with Labradoodles and Poodles had the same amount of CANF1 as homes with mutts and golden retrievers and everything else, and nobody cared. The study came out, the data was clear, and breeders kept right on using the word, because it sells. Of course it sells. You're telling an allergy sufferer they can have a dog. That's a powerful thing to hear. People want it to be true so badly that they'll pay $5,000 on the strength of a word that means basically nothing. It's not a lie in the courtroom sense. It's more like a lie in the everything else sense. A golden retriever looks like a golden retriever. You've seen one, you've kind of seen them all, give or take some shade variation and maybe 30 pounds. That's what a breed is. Predictability. You know the size, the coat, the temperament, the health risks. Roughly. Close enough. That's the whole point of breeding standards. Doodles don't have that. When you cross a poodle with a golden, or a lab, or a Bernese, they're crossing them with everything now, you're combining 2 completely different genetic packages. And first-generation crosses are basically a coin flip. Every single trait. Coat type? Could go either way. Could be curly, could be flat, could be somewhere in between. Could be wiry in a way nobody expected. Size? The range is enormous. I've seen Goldendoodles that are 40 pounds and Goldendoodles that are 90 from the same litter. And temperament. That's the one nobody talks about enough. Breeders love saying you get the best of both breeds, but genetics doesn't work like a buffet where you pick the good stuff. You might get the poodle's intelligence and the golden's patience. Or you might get the poodle's anxiety and the golden's, well, goldens are pretty chill, that example, but you get what I mean. There's no guarantee. There's no filtering mechanism. With a purebred, generations of selective breeding have narrowed the range. With a Doodle, especially in F1, first generation, the range is wide open. You're not buying a breed, you're buying a lottery ticket, a very, very expensive lottery ticket. And some people get lucky, genuinely. They get a great dog, but some people get lucky as a weird foundation for a billion-dollar industry. You can get a Goldendoodle puppy delivered to your door in 6 days. 6 days. Like it's a couch from Wayfair. And nobody thinks that's weird. There are websites, I'm not going to name them, but you've seen them, where you scroll through puppies the way you'd scroll through Airbnbs. Filter by size, filter by color, filter by generation, which we'll get to that. Add to cart, check out, done. And the puppy shows up on a plane from Missouri or Ohio or some rural stretch of Pennsylvania where, surprise, the largest concentration of commercial breeding operations in the country happens to be. And look, I want to be careful here, because not every high-volume breeder is a puppy mill. That's true, but the math doesn't lie. The demand for Doodles is so far beyond what responsible breeders can produce that somebody's filling that gap. A lot of somebodies. The USDA licenses commercial breeders, and technically they're inspected, but the standards are, a dog can legally spend its entire life in a wire-bottomed cage that's 6 inches longer than its body. That's compliant. That passes inspection. And here's what gets me. Reputable breeders, the ones doing health testing, the ones with wait lists, the ones who actually care, they'll tell you straight up, we can't breed fast enough to meet demand. So who's meeting it? Operations that treat dogs like inventory. Breeding females back to back, every cycle, until they're spent. Then they're done. Retired is the polite word. Discarded is the honest one. The price tag fools people. You're paying $2-3 grand, sometimes more. And you assume that kind of money means quality. It doesn't. It means demand. Okay, so if you've shopped for a Doodle for more than about 10 minutes, you've seen the alphabet soup. F1, F1B, F2, F2B, multi-generational. And breeders throw these around like they're, like they're certifications. Like an F1B is a better product than an F1. More hypoallergenic, more predictable coat. Less shedding, guaranteed. It's not guaranteed. It's not even close to guaranteed. That's not how genetics works. So here's the quick version. An F1 is a purebred poodle crossed with a purebred, let's say golden retriever, 50-50. An F1B is that F1 Doodle bred back to a poodle. So now you're roughly 75% poodle, 25% retriever. And the pitch is, more poodle means curlier coat, means less shedding, means better for allergies. And on paper, sure, the odds tilt that direction. But tilting the odds and guarantee are very different things. Genetics doesn't work like mixing paint. You don't get a smooth blend. You get a dice roll. Every single puppy in that litter can come out different. Some will have tight curls. Some will have wavy, shedding coats that trigger every allergy in the house. Same litter, same parents, completely different results. But breeders price F1Bs higher. They market them as the premium option. And buyers, who mostly don't know any better, and why would they, pay the markup, thinking they're buying certainty. They're not. They're buying a probability that's slightly better than a coin flip, dressed up in a label that sounds scientific. The letters aren't meaningless, but they're nowhere near what they're sold as, and nobody making money off them is going to tell you that. A standard poodle gets groomed every 4 to 6 weeks. People know that going in. It's part of the deal. But doodle buyers? Most of them have no idea what they've signed up for. And I kinda get it. The whole marketing pitch is laid-back poodle, right? Easy, chill, low-maintenance vibes. The coat is not low maintenance. The coat is a nightmare. Doodle coats, especially the wavy and curly ones everybody wants, matte, fast. Like you skip brushing for 4 days and you've got felted wool behind the ears, between the toes, under the collar. And once it mattes tight enough, the groomer can't brush it out. They have to shave it. Which means you're paying $60, $80, sometimes over $100 for what's basically a reset. And that's every 6 weeks, minimum. Do the math on that. Call it $85 a visit, 9 visits a year. You're at $765 annually just on grooming. For context, that's more than most people spend on their own haircuts in 3 years. But here's the part that actually gets people. If you don't stay on top of the brushing at home, and I mean daily line brushing, not just running a slicker over the top coat, the mats get bad enough that the groomer has to do a full shave down, and then the dog looks, well, not like what you paid for. People get upset. They blame the groomer. The groomer's like, I told you to brush. Nobody told the buyer what brush actually meant. Groomers, by the way, are increasingly refusing doodles or charging premium rates. Because a matted doodle takes twice the time and 5 times the patience of a standard poodle. That's not a complaint, that's just the economics. You know what nobody tells you when you're scrolling through those cute doodle puppy photos? That coat is a full-time job. And I don't mean like, oh, you gotta brush your dog sometimes. I mean, this is a second hobby. This is a commitment. This is something that will genuinely affect your weekends. So here's what's going on. You take a poodle coat, which is curly, dense, single-layered, and you cross it with a golden or a lab or whatever, which has a double coat, and what you get is kind of a mess, genetically speaking. The hair texture is unpredictable. Some doodles get the poodle curl, some get this weird in-between wave that mats if you look at it wrong, and a lot of them get the absolute worst combination, the curl plus the undercoat, which means the shedding hair doesn't fall out. It just tangles, wraps around itself, mats down to the skin. Groomers talk about this constantly, by the way. Go look at any grooming subreddit. Doodle owners are, I don't want to say the enemy, but they're the recurring problem. Dogs come in matted to the skin, haven't been brushed in weeks, and the owner's upset when the groomer has to shave the whole thing down. Every single time. And brushing isn't like a 5-minute thing. You need a slicker brush, a metal comb. You're working through sections. You're doing this every day or every other day. Skip a week, you're looking at mats, behind the ears, between the legs, under the collar. Mats that hurt. Mats that pull on the skin and cause sores. A lot of people bought the hypoallergenic, low-maintenance pitch. And I get it, but that pitch was not accurate. I want to be careful here because I'm not saying every doodle is aggressive. That's not what this is. But there's a pattern that trainers and behaviorists keep pointing to, and it's worth talking about honestly. Doodles, especially Goldendoodles, have a reputation as the perfect family dog. Gentle, goofy, great with kids, and some of them are, genuinely. But a weirdly high number of them aren't. Reactivity, resource guarding, nipping, straight up biting. Trainers will tell you privately that Doodles make up a disproportionate chunk of their behavioral caseload, and nobody wants to say it out loud because the breed has this untouchable reputation. Part of it's the breeding. When you're mixing two breeds and the goal is mostly cosmetic, the look, the coat, the size, temperament testing kind of falls off the priority list. Reputable poodle breeders spend generations selecting for stable nerves. Doodle breeders? A lot of them are just pairing two dogs and hoping for cute puppies. No health testing, no temperament screening, no long-term tracking of what those lines actually produce. And then there's the owner's side. People buy Doodles thinking they're getting a pre-trained therapy dog, like the friendliness is built in. So they skip socialization, they skip training. They let stuff slide early on because the puppy's cute and fluffy, and how bad could it get? Pretty bad, turns out. I've read accounts from trainers who say Doodles are some of the most under-socialized dogs they see, not because the breed is broken, because the expectation was wrong from the start. People didn't prepare for a real dog. They prepared for a stuffed animal that eats. "10 years ago, you almost never saw a Doodle in a shelter. Now, they're everywhere, and shelters are kind of struggling with it because these dogs come with baggage that's, honestly, it's a lot." The pattern goes like this. Someone pays $2,000, $3,000, sometimes $4,000 for a Doodle puppy. They were told it's hypoallergenic, low shedding, great temperament, easy. And then the dog grows up. It mats, it bites the kids, it's reactive on leash. The grooming bills are $300-$400 every 6 weeks. And at some point, usually around 18 months, when the dog hits adolescence and gets big and strong and stops being cute enough to excuse the problems, they surrender it. Shelters are seeing this wave now. And the tough part is, these dogs are hard to rehome. They've got behavioral issues, they're under-socialized, they need experienced owners willing to put in the training work and the grooming work and the money, and there just aren't enough of those people. Some rescue groups have popped up specifically for Doodles, which, think about that for a second. A designer dog that costs thousands of dollars now has its own rescue network. That tells you something went wrong somewhere. And the breeders, they're still pumping out litters, still charging premium prices, still making the same promises. There's zero accountability. No breed club setting standards because it's not a recognized breed. No health database, no nothing. Just demand and supply, and a whole lot of dogs ending up in places they were never supposed to be. The hype created the demand. The demand created the breeders. The breeders created the dogs. And now, nobody wants to deal with what comes next. A golden retriever is a golden retriever. You know what you're getting. Size, coat, temperament. There's like 100 years of breeding behind that consistency. Same with a poodle. Same with basically any established breed. That's kind of the whole point of breeds existing. Doodles don't have that. They can't have that. Because when you cross two different breeds, genetics doesn't just split the difference and hand you the best of both. It's a dice roll every single time. You might get a puppy that sheds like crazy from the non-poodle parent, with the energy of a poodle and the stubbornness of neither. Or you might get one that doesn't shed at all, but has the anxiety of a Labrador and the size of, honestly, who knows? Could be 40 pounds, could be 80. And I think people don't realize how much variation you can get in a single litter. Like same mom, same dad, and the puppies come out looking and acting like they belong to different breeds entirely. One's calm, one's wired, one's got a curly coat, one's got a flat coat that sheds everywhere. That's not a flaw in the system. That's how first-generation crosses work. It's basic genetics. The breeders will tell you, oh, they're hypoallergenic, great temperament, best of both worlds. But they can't guarantee any of that. They literally can't. Because they're not working with a stable gene pool. They're mixing two and hoping for the best. And sometimes you get a great dog, genuinely. But sometimes you get a dog that's nothing like what was advertised, and nobody warned you that was even possible. $3,000. That's the going rate for a Goldendoodle from a, and I'm using this term loosely, reputable breeder. Some charge $4. I've seen $5 for a mixed breed dog. Let that sit for a second. You can get a purebred golden retriever from a genuinely health-tested OFA certified breeder for less than that. A standard poodle from Champion Lines, less than that. But somehow crossing those two dogs together makes the puppy worth more? How does that math work? I mean, I know how it works. It works because marketing works. The whole Doodle thing, and I kinda hate saying this because I know people love their Doodles, but the whole thing is built on vibes. Hypoallergenic, family-friendly, low shedding, smart. It's a checklist of things people want to hear, and breeders figured out that if you say them confidently enough, nobody asks for the receipts. And the breeders themselves? Look, there are no breed standards for Doodles. No registry, no health testing requirements, no oversight. Anyone with 2 dogs in a backyard can call themselves a Doodle breeder and charge luxury prices. That's not an exaggeration. That's Tuesday. The good breeders, the ones doing hip scores, eye exams, genetic panels, they exist, but they're the minority, a small minority. And the problem is, from the outside, it's almost impossible to tell the difference between a breeder who's doing everything right and one who's just got a nice website and a Venmo link. The price is the same either way, the promises are the same either way, the puppy photos are equally cute. Every breed has its problems. Goldens get cancer at terrifying rates. Poodles are prone to Addison's disease, bloat, eye issues. That's just the deal. Purebred dogs carry breed-specific risks, and responsible breeders test for them. Screen the parents. Remove carriers from the breeding pool. It's slow, it's expensive, and it works, mostly. Now, what happens when you cross 2 breeds? You don't cancel out the problems. That's not how genetics works, even though people talk about it like it is. Hybrid vigor. You hear that phrase thrown around a lot with Doodles. And sure, hybrid vigor is a real thing. In agriculture, in first-generation crosses of highly inbred lines. But the way Doodle breeders use it is generous, really generous. What actually happens is you get the potential health risks of both parent breeds. A Goldendoodle can inherit the cancer predisposition from the Golden side and the joint problems from the Poodle side. Or neither, or one. You don't know. And if the breeder isn't testing for the relevant conditions in both breeds, which again, a lot of them aren't, then you're flying blind. And here's what gets me. With a purebred, you at least know what to watch for. Your vet knows, the breed club publishes the data, there's a roadmap. With a Doodle, the health profile is just a question mark. Could be anything. Could be fine. Could be a $7,000 surgery at age 3 because nobody checked whether both parents carried the gene for hip dysplasia. And you won't find out until it's way too late to do anything, except pay the bill. Every Doodle owner I've ever talked to, okay, not every single one, but like a lot of them, will eventually mention the same thing. The shaking, the panting, the absolute meltdown when they leave the house for 20 minutes to grab milk. And it gets brushed off. Oh, he just loves me so much. Yeah. Or he's falling apart inside. Separation anxiety in Doodles is genuinely staggering. Some estimates put it at around 40 to 60% of Doodle owners reporting moderate to severe anxiety behaviors. That's not a quirk, that's a breed-level pattern, and it makes sense when you think about what went into them. Poodles are already one of the most handler-focused breeds on the planet. Golden retrievers bond hard, labs bond hard. You cross any of those with a poodle, and you're basically engineering a dog whose entire nervous system is wired to you. Which sounds sweet until you realize you can't take a shower without a dog scratching through the bathroom door. But here's what actually bothers me. The anxiety isn't just separation stuff, it's noise reactivity. It's stranger fear. It's that weird thing where they're fine at home but turn into a trembling mess at the vet or the groomer, or, I don't know, a slightly different park. Generalized anxiety, the kind that doesn't go away with a Kong full of peanut butter. And nobody's screening for it. Nobody's selecting against it in breeding because the puppies sell anyway. Why would a breeder care if 40... The dog's your problem now. The anxiety is, it's baked in, literally bred into them. You know what sells a Doodle puppy? The round face, the teddy bear look, those big, kind of dopey eyes peering through a curtain of fluff. That's the whole product, right? That's the Instagram photo. That's the thing that makes someone go, I need one. And that look, it's destroying them. Because to get that face, that specific, soft, rounded muzzle, breeders are selecting for features that a veterinary ophthalmologist would look at and just wince. The hair grows directly into the eyes, not near them, into them. Constant irritation, chronic tear staining, and in a scary number of cases, actual corneal ulcers, because the dog literally cannot stop its own fur from scratching its eyeball every single day. Then there's the ears. Floppy, heavy, covered in thick, curly hair that traps moisture like a sponge. Ear infections in Doodles are so common that some vets basically schedule them in advance. I'm not exaggerating. There are clinics where Doodle ear infections are a significant chunk of their weekly appointments. And these aren't one-and-done infections. They're chronic, recurring, sometimes resistant to treatment because they've been treated so many times already. Skin issues, allergies. Hot spots. The coat that's supposedly hypoallergenic, we'll get to that myth later, requires professional grooming every 4 to 6 weeks. Miss a couple sessions and you get matting so severe it has to be shaved down to the skin, which causes irritation, which causes scratching, which causes infection. All of this traces back to one thing, the look, the aesthetic. The breeding priority was never health. It was never temperament. It was, does this photograph well? And the dogs are paying for it. There's a version of this that sounds cute. My Doodle follows me everywhere. People post it with a laughing emoji. Little video of the dog sitting outside the shower. Adorable. Give it 6 months. Because what starts as, oh, he's so attached to me, becomes something else entirely. It becomes a dog that cannot function independently, cannot settle on its own, cannot be in a room without you without pacing, whining, or, and this is the one that really gets people, destroying things. Not out of spite, out of genuine, full-blown panic. Doodles were not bred for independence. I keep coming back to this because it matters. Poodles are Velcro dogs. Goldens are Velcro dogs. You combine them and you get super Velcro. A dog that has been genetically optimized to need you every second of every day. And most people buying Doodles are not prepared for that. They wanted a cute, chill, easygoing family dog. What they got is a dog that has a nervous breakdown when they go to work. And the fixes aren't simple. You can't just crate train your way out of it. A lot of anxious doodles escalate in crates. They break teeth on the bars, they injure themselves trying to escape. So then you try a camera. You try calming treats, you try leaving the TV on, you try an Adaptil diffuser, you try a Thunder shirt, you try everything, and the dog is still standing at the door, shaking. The breeders don't mention this part. The websites say, great family dog, loves people. Yeah, loves people the way a drowning person loves a life raft. That's not companionship. That's dependence, and it's a problem nobody told you was coming. Talk to a vet off the record, like actually off the record, not for a quote in some puff piece. And the doodle conversation gets real uncomfortable real fast. Because most of them are seeing it, the pattern. The same dogs, the same problems over and over. The ear infections, the skin issues, the anxiety medications, the orthopedic problems that shouldn't be showing up at 2 years old, but are. Hip dysplasia in a dog that was supposed to be hybrid vigor, Addison's disease from the poodle side that nobody tested for, sebaceous adenitis, bloat, stuff that responsible breeders screen for, except doodle breeders by and large don't. And vets can't really say this out loud, not publicly, because doodle owners are passionate. And a vet who posts "stop buying doodles" on their clinic's Facebook page is gonna lose clients, so they stay quiet. They treat the infections, they prescribe the Prozac, they do the knee surgery, and they bite their tongue. But privately, the frustration is real. There are veterinary forums, closed ones, the kind where they actually talk, and doodles come up constantly. Not because vets hate them, they don't. They feel bad for them. These dogs are getting a raw deal because somebody wanted to sell a product and called it a breed. The thing that gets vets the most, I think, is the hypoallergenic claim. Because it's not true. It was never true. There's no such thing as a hypoallergenic dog. That's not how allergies work. But it's the single biggest selling point for doodles. And it's basically, it's a lie. A really profitable one. And the dogs, and eventually the owners, are the ones who pay for it. Yeah, maybe. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you not to. That's probably not the answer you expected after 16 sections of me picking the whole thing apart. But here we are. Because the dog isn't the problem. The dog's never been the problem. A doodle, the actual animal standing in your kitchen, sweet, goofy, way too smart for its own good, that dog didn't ask for any of this. It didn't write the marketing. It didn't invent the F1B label. It's just a dog, and most of them are good ones. The problem is everything around the dog. The breeders cutting corners, the hypoallergenic promise that was never real. The grooming bill nobody mentioned. The 8, 9, 10 grand you'll spend over a lifetime that the cute Instagram puppy somehow left out of the pitch. So here's the actual answer, and it's boring, and I'm sorry. Get one if you can do it right. Right meaning a breeder who health tests both parents, who lets you meet the mom, who has a wait list instead of a website with a buy now button. Right meaning you've actually priced out grooming and you didn't flinch. Right meaning you've got the time, because that Velcro thing I mentioned, it's not a quirk, it's the deal. You're signing up for a shadow. And don't get one for the reason most people get one. Don't get one because it won't shed or won't trigger your allergies or won't bark. Because, look, you might get lucky. You might also not. That's the whole roulette thing. I used to think this was a simple don't do it story. It's not. It's a know what you're walking into story. The dog will be fine. The question is whether you will. Go look at a rescue first, honestly. There's a curly-coated one sitting in a shelter right now, wondering where its people went. Keep in mind that you'll need to be a good parent to this beautiful dog.